What's going on, y'all? This is episode 98 of the Weekly Wave. I'm very excited that we are nearing 100. We have some big changes coming at episode 100, so stay tuned. My guest this week is Allan Kyle. Allan Kyle is a Cincinnati hip-hop and rap artist. He grew up in Brooklyn, New York, then moved to Orlando, Florida. He has a lot to tell you about. Works for a company in town called Rooted Creative. Without further ado, my friends, Allan Kyle. Allan Kyle, what's going on,
What's
bro?
going on, man?
Thanks for coming over, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And welcome home. When did you move back to Cincy, or when did you move to Cincy?
I moved to Cincy last February 11th, so like a year and like 2 weeks now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where are you from?
Florida, Orlando,
Nice.
Yeah.
What's it like being a kid in such like a hustle and bustle kind of town? What's kicking, G?
What's up, man? Originally, I'm from Brooklyn, New York, so I was raised in that environment.
Okay.
So everywhere else outside of that is just not as fast as New York.
Yes.
But
And what age you live in Brooklyn till?
till I was 10, and then I pretty much went back every summer until I was 17. So yeah, I was frequent in New York.
That's crazy. Most of your family up there?
They were, but then most of them moved to Florida. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
One person didn't. They're all like, fuck this.
Yeah, everyone left. They're like, oh, it's sunny year round. That's cool.
What was it like going to school in New York?
Man, it was. I mean, you just did it. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't really.
Well, I feel like, a grade school experience, like, it's so formative for all of us, man. But,
Yeah.
like, especially in that kind of forever melting pot, that kind of busy,
Yeah.
like, you just have different questions as a kid. You see different shit. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, for sure. I will say from what I do remember, it was just a lot of mix of different kids and environments and stuff. Like you would have there's a lot of Jewish neighborhoods and stuff like that where I'm from.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have a lot of Caribbean people. So specifically where I lived, it was a lot of Caribbean people. So my family's from the Caribbean, the islands and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, so there was just a mix of culture and food. It was amazing.
Well, especially in a part of the world like that, it's cool the way that neighborhood sects preserve culture much
Yes.
better than other parts of the world. So
Yes.
if you walk into a Jewish neighborhood, you kind of feel
Yeah.
the change.
Uh-huh.
And those kind of things make you respect, like what part of New York culture would you say you carried with you to Florida? Like what part of that is still in you?
Man, I was so young, so my formative years were definitely in Florida. So
Really?
I mean, I'm not too sure.
You laid back like you're from Florida, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. My sister though, she definitely kept that New York in her.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could tell the difference between us two.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
When whether it's the pace or it's just like your ambitions or the way you view that wide scope of the world, I feel
Yeah.
like stepping into a place like Orlando, like it's more about the show, where
Mhm.
New York's about the lifestyle.
Right,
you know?
right, for sure.
So what was it like being like a young kid in such a hot entertainment district in Orlando?
It was fun. It was fun. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's there's always something to do. You don't really realize until you're able to like drive and move around. Like there's always something to do. When people are coming from other states, like I don't know, like the Midwest, not to bash the Midwest, it's cool. There's stuff to do here.
Oh, swing for the fences, brother. Say what you gotta say. We don't mind.
Okay, cool. So I mean, you go outside. There's only like a selective things to do here.
Yeah.
Down there, there's year round. There's things to do. I mean, there's parks. You can go to the beach, springs, and it's just nice. It's just very, very like just go outside and you can find something to do. If you want to do something, you can find something to do.
Yeah.
So
And how much did you kind of participate in tourist culture? Like going to the parks and doing things where the out-of-towners do come in and check that shit.
you hate it.
Really?
As a resident, you hate it, bro. You avoid it as much as possible until like someone's like, "Oh, I got free tickets. Let's go." And you're just like, might as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, we avoid it as much as possible.
Do you think that that kind of exposure, though, to like at least seeing it available, it's different when your city is known for the show. Do you think that drove you to be an entertainer yourself?
Nah, man. Music was just in me. Like I don't think I was really influenced more so by seeing anything. It was just always in me, an interest I had to do. So yeah, I wouldn't say like the showmanship of Florida influenced me to be in music.
Yeah. You just wonder when was that first opportunity to perform for you? Did you come from a family that was entertainers?
So I found out as I got older, my mom's dad was really good at playing guitar. So there was background there on that side. My dad was a DJ for a little bit, and he had his records growing up. He had his record player, like the old Audio Technicas, like the vinyl records and stuff.
Nice.
He always had his reggae records and stuff playing.
That's such a different vibe too, man. Because you don't have a lot of wax coming out of that part of the world. You know?
No.
Yeah.
It's dope. He still has them, actually. It's amazing.
Can he scratch much?
I don't think I think he lost his touch a little bit, but he's getting back into it.
Yeah.
He's definitely getting back into it.
Well, you know, when you watch guys like really work Serato or something like that on like a Pioneer, like all digital table, like it loses some of the nuance and the finesse that guys that are classic DJs could do. But also, like, back then it wasn't a requirement that you did that. You could just spin records and be cool with that, man.
Exactly.
Have you ever tried your hand at that, just coming from a family of DJs?
A little bit. More so like when I remember I got my iPod, right? The iPod Touch. I was like, oh yeah. And I forgot what app it was called, but I'd be on there trying to mix songs like digitally and stuff. And my dad was just giving me pointers. I'm like, what do you know about this stuff? And he's like, I used to be so.
You didn't know about it until?
It didn't click. I just thought it was something he bought just to have fun with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I used to DJ, but I was like, okay. I just put two together.
What a cool thing, though, to wait till it pops up in your kid's life to actually bring that to the forefront.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, if your child's gonna explore a hobby like that, you don't want to own that hobby before they do.
Right.
You kind of want to give them a chance, and then if you can assist, you know, if you have an eye or an ear for it, you can say this key, not that key. This BPM, not that BPM.
Right.
You know, what a crazy experience as a kid.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
Is there any vinyl of your dad's collection that really stood out to you?
I looked through it recently. I just helped him move out of our home in Florida, so I was like flicking through, and he has this one Bob Marley record. Forgot which album it was. I could probably tell you if I pull up a picture. Yeah, but I'm a huge Bob Marley fan. That's all he mostly played growing up. So I would say that one. Yeah.
Man, I was one of those kids that didn't get the LP experience with Bob, but like the first time I got a copy of Legends, like Legends played.
Yes.
You know, and there's something that I didn't understand the history of when Bob appears, when that kind of reggae appears in the world, because like it's really like the 80s, right? When Bob starts coming out with all that, and there's not really that island sound until is the one drop much of a part of Caribbean music before that point in time?
I would say so. I know for reggae it was a lot of influence from like swing music and stuff like that, and what's the other genre? It's like swing and stuff. I just watched that whole documentary.
Like a Bob documentary?
Yeah.
What's it on?
It's on Netflix, I want to say, or Amazon Prime.
Is it the Who Shot the Sheriff one?
No, it's a different one. It's I think it's called One Love. So
nice.
It basically talks about his whole life and stuff like that, and it touches on like reggae history and stuff like that. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
It's also crazy to think of like there's a genre that emerges with a star, and that star went into a different category that's barely even music related. I mean, Bob is just
an icon.
Exactly. He's almost a religious figure for a lot of people.
Pretty much.
And you don't think about the music becoming one of those things until you're the family trying to figure out how do you make the most of his estate and his message and what goes forth in that.
Right.
And it's just so, because like before I knew where Bob came up in history, I thought he was some of the 60s and 70s. I thought he was even earlier than all that. So it's just kind of a mind fuck.
Yeah, low key.
Yeah, to see it all kind of fold out.
Yeah.
So what were like the big musical artists of your childhood then?
I would definitely say it was mostly reggae because growing up, my mom is in the gospel, heavy in the gospel. So like BB and CeCe Winans, I don't know if you know them as well.
I do not.
They're gospel singers. I can name a few more. It's mostly like gospel and reggae. I wasn't really allowed to listen to rap, more so on her end because she didn't like the message, like religious and stuff like that. But you know, growing up in the digital era, your parents, you know, don't really have much control of what you get into. So I remember my sister got an MP3 player and she would load it up with her music, and then she would like give it to me, or I'd borrow it for the day or something, or I ended up getting my own. And then downloading LimeWire.
Nice.
Going on LimeWire, doing all that stuff.
Yeah, crashing a couple computers.
Exactly. Exactly. One burnt. We luckily had two in the same like den area.
Yeah.
So one was ours and one was for my parents.
Nice.
And yeah, ours got effed, and then moved to theirs. That got effed.
Dude, but like legit, your computer starts to smell like burning plastic.
Yeah,
and you were
bro.
just trying to get like a Wu-Tang out.
I was just trying to get some music for the bus, man. That was it.
So did you have like, you said you had an iPod eventually. What was your first MP3 player? You remember?
Ah, dude, it was some Walmart brand thing. I forgot. It was like, you know what they look like. It was like this big.
Yeah.
And it had like the little volume button on it, and like the skip and it was a USB. You just plug it straight in.
You ever missed just having like all your music in one place that's separate from the rest of your life? So it's like you leave your phone, you know, you check out of the world and you go out and all you got is your tunes.
Yes. I think it was a couple months ago. I was thinking about getting the iPod, not the, which one was it?
The Nano?
Classic.
Okay.
Classic. Oh, getting an iPod Classic. But those are definitely hard to find. And
especially one that fucking works.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. With it actually has a charger with it. So
yeah, dude, I remember like one of my first players was like, it was like a little cube that had almost like classic Nintendo cartridges.
Yeah.
Okay, and the cartridges would all hang on your keychain, and
Oh,
they'd just be
I know.
one song.
Yeah.
The only song I fucking had was "Who Let the Dogs Out." Okay,
Oh, that's fun.
Dude, my entire childhood, I was banging on the bus.
Who let
dude.
the dog- Yeah, that's fun.
It was so hard. But like you think of this the limited music experience you had then versus what you have now, and we still kind of fall into some of the same habits. Like in the same way we have comfort foods that we reach for every day, we have comfort musics. Like, are there any motifs of albums that come up in your life, things you always go to listen to that just means something to you?
Man, I when I'm feeling like, you know, just want to relax and just feel comfortable, it's any Bob Marley.
Nice.
Any Bob Marley album. That's what reggae. Just throw it on. I'm comfortable.
Yeah. Now, have you ever gone back to the Caribbean with your folks and seen are they first generation immigrants here?
Yes. Yeah.
You've ever gotten to go back to their home and kick it and hear, you know, locals playing the music?
Oh yeah, for sure. Fortunately, I grew up. We're able to go back pretty often.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So I'd say like once every 2 to 3 years we'd go back to Trinidad because my mom's from Trinidad.
Nice.
And my dad's from St. Lucia, which is a smaller island.
Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely visit. And the lifestyle is, if I can at some point, I would love to just live there.
Yeah.
Just the lifestyle is completely different. It's more relaxed. Like it's slow pace. It's you take your time. You enjoy it. People enjoy themselves more over there. It's work to what's the saying? It's you don't work to live. I forgot the.
Oh, you don't live to work, you work to live?
There you go.
Cool.
Yeah, so people are like, when they get off of work, it's not normal to just go to the bar, just get some food and stuff, and just hang out after work. Just low stress, man. Just low stress.
And that's one of those things, too, like, you know, it's a great goal to give yourself a chance to step out of this lifestyle and experience something that is... You know, it's your heritage. It's what your folks experience, what your grandparents experience, and it's very grounding to feel like you're in their home.
Right,
you know?
right.
I'm going to St. Lucia for my honeymoon with the fiance.
No way.
Man, so I'm very excited about seeing that for the first time. It seems like a ridiculously beautiful place.
Bro, it's amazing. It's actually where exactly are you?
I don't know. I don't pick those kind of things out.
Okay.
You know, she tells
She
me
does, yeah.
That's
She's
my
like, oh,
boy.
we're going
Yeah.
here. All right, cool. We're going.
When she said it, and like we started looking at pictures, like it's obviously a gorgeous island. But like, you know, again, you'll get more of the tourist experience versus
than the local.
like if you want to ask someone like, tell me about your grandparents' neighborhood. It's like, well, you got to go see that shit if you want to really feel it, man.
Yeah, for sure.
One of like my first musical mentors was this guy named Dean, and he's from Grenada. Did the cruise ship gigging for a long time. Ended up in Hilton Head, South Carolina. And like my very first gig in public was just trying to sit in playing reggae and calypso with this guy.
Oh man.
And I just got my face rocked by like all the little musical nuance of leaving space for each other. And I think in the same way where you're talking about like, you know, island time is different. You know, the intention of how you live is different. The way you play the music is so different, man. It's so much more lax. And you don't get that until you're with someone who can tell you like, still not there, still not there, kinda, yes.
Yeah.
You know, and it's sweet relief.
Man, that's kind of cool that you even got to experience that, because a lot of people aren't really hip to like calypso and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's such a different style of music, man.
Yeah.
And Dean is still one of my favorite people in the world. Like his son plays in the band with us now. When we go to the Carolinas. This is someone that's always going to be one of my heroes and one of my mentors, man.
That's beautiful, man.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Did you have any folks like that who, as you started to dabble in hip hop, were kind of like the older cats that you leaned on for info?
My uncle, he actually, this is back to like when I was growing up and finding out people in my family like did music. He's a great singer. So when I got interested in it, he kind of mentored me the first year or so. More so on the best advice he gave me is don't box yourself in. So he was like, if you ever get big enough to say you have options to work with like Taylor Swift or like, I don't know, Paramore, stuff like that. Yes, you're a rapper, but be versatile enough to say, hey, I can work with that person or that person. You know, at the end of the day, it's about business and stuff, and that will generate more money and stuff like that for you.
Absolutely.
So that's one thing I try to keep in mind. Don't ever box yourself in when making music.
Yeah, and I love the way you started that by saying, like, you know, learning from a singer. Like, you know, you're definitely a singer in that regard. Your vocal styling is not just traditional MC of speaking and fitting inflection, but it has, you know, a lot of melodic sensibilities. Would you say that stems from a gospel household? Did you grow up singing in the family, or did you find out later that you wanted to use your voice like that?
So fun fact, I actually don't like gospel music.
Cool. At all?
Yeah, I can't.
Because someone forced you to like it, and then it was like, no, this ain't for me?
Nah, because, like, I had the same upbringing as reggae. It's just I took to reggae, and, like, for some reason, gospel just doesn't speak to me, bro. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, I felt that. I'm just like, I don't feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you end up, what kind of church you grew up in?
Seventh-day Adventist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that...
So, it's basically Christian, but instead we go to church on Saturdays. And, yeah. That's
rad?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I feel like a lot of the gospel calling, though, is the spiritual aspect of it.
Yeah.
And everyone's welcome to find the spirit where they find the spirit.
Right.
So if those two don't collide, then gospel is just like, I don't know, it's a lot of jump, you know?
Yeah,
and
for sure.
If it's not your game, it's not your game.
Yeah. I mean, trust me, I've tried. Like, there are, like, 2 songs I do like, and I can tell you, like, but, it's just not for me, man.
Yeah. What about when you see, like, gospel influence in the hip-hop world? As someone that grew up with the same roots as a lot of other folks, like when you look at Chicago rappers and whatnot, they have a really like new wave kind of gospel sound, especially the keys players, just in their voices. Yeah. Do you like that kind of thing? Is it familiar in a nice way? Yeah,
it's cool. I think as long as it's done tastefully, and you know, it's not that I hate on it. I'm not gonna say, oh, that's gospel keys. I'm not listening to that.
Yeah.
If I like it, I like it. So,
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and who are kind of like the modern artists that, not that you benchmark against, the people that you say like, I want to sound like this, but I want to sound better than that, you know?
Definitely. I don't know if you know Marlon Craft, Coda the Friend.
I do not.
Jaden Smith, Tyler Creator, Childish Gambino.
Dig.
Those are all my. It's more than music for me. It's about like the world you create. So those people are able to. Especially Tyler, Jaden, and Childish Gambino, they're able to create worlds around their music. So it's not just your listening experience; it's their visual experience as well. Like Tyler, he has his own line of like Golf LaFleur, which is his like clothing line. He has scents and all those things. But you can you say their name and you're just like, okay, you can visualize and just be encapsulated by everything about them.
Yeah,
and that's what I really dig, and that's what drives me to be a better musician, is to get to that point where I can create a world around what I'm saying.
I'm just watching Community for the first time, and I'll get my mind just shook by how talented Don Glover is, man. Like, in all the things he does. And it's cool that you mentioned that, because you are a creative with many an outlet, you know, from the photography to your own music curation. Like, do you do the acting thing at all? Do you dabble in that world?
I would like to at some point. I'm not closing that off. I think my ultimate goal with music is to, you know, just do that. Just be an entertainer of all forms. So I mean, if life takes me to that point, man, I'll go.
Yeah. When did you start shooting though? When did you get a camera for the first time and find that passion?
I'd say it's been a while, but I just never took it serious until like a couple years ago, and especially last year at my job, like I had to sharpen up on that. So
yeah. Well, like I said the other day, like it was so much fun shooting with you. And again, Nick,
appreciate that.
You haven't seen any of the shots on the camera. You just know you had a good vibe and a good experience with the thing. And it's interesting to think like while you're just over here taking it casual, there's a guy on the other end working on his aperture.
Yeah,
Trying to get the depth scale right.
Yeah.
It's just like people that are really involved in that. Where'd you learn your chain of command of how you get the shot you want?
Practice, man. Basically, my boss at work, actually, most of the people I work with are pretty decent with the camera. So we all try to go take pictures, and we all try to learn from each other. But the best advice I was given was shoot the same thing in different angles, and it works every single time. Sometimes I forget about it, but then when you get reminded of it, I can take a picture of you right here, but just in multiple angles, right? Take it from back there, take it from lower, and you get completely different outcomes. And then with that, you're able to learn, okay, with you being here, you wouldn't even have to think about it after. You're just like, okay, since I know you're here, I already know how I want to shoot you, and I know what I want the picture to. My fault.
You good.
I want the picture to look like. So you won't have to go through those like test shots of, you just really know what angles to hit.
Yeah.
Because you just done all those angles already multiple times.
Well, I find it really interesting to watch a photographer really get in their flow state, because it's hard to mentally categorize every shot you just took and what you want to do with it. You're just kind of continually moving.
Mm-hmm.
As someone that works a lot in like the social media sphere, what do you think is the best presentation for that kind of photography for artists and for different kinds of creatives?
Presentation as in
like when you're scrolling through your feed, do you
Mhm.
like to see one photo that gets it all? Do you like to see 3 photos by each other? Do you like to see like the I don't even know what to call it, but where you can now scroll.
Oh,
it's like
carousels?
yeah, it's interesting, man.
Oh man, I feel like that's just a personal thing. I can't say what the best is. I mean, for the algorithm, it's since that changes all the time. Whatever makes people stop the longest. So I think at the moment it's carousels. Since they're bringing back like picture importance, so they're not relying on video as much anymore as on Instagram. Carousels would be important as well, which is like the swipe things, because that allows people to be on the app longer.
Yeah. Now, do you think that's like the most potent place to see a photo though? Like, how do you like to experience other photographers? I guess is more my question.
Okay. Man, I guess Instagram.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because like, there's something really special about when you go and have a studio shoot with someone and they give you a hard copy of a photo they took, and you're like, This is textured. This is culture. This feels like someone understood me without having to do anything. It's between breaths. It's such a moment in time.
Right.
Man. And I always wonder about how that starts to translate more and more to Facebook and Insta as video takes over as our primary medium. Because photography is super potent compared to those things. And like, you just had a huge show at the Woodward Theater. Congrats on that.
Thank you so much.
There's moments in the show though where everyone's their own worst critic. If you watch the video, you're like, maybe I flubbed a line here, or the track wasn't right there, but the photo is perfect and it doesn't tell you anything about those.
There's no context of what happened right there. Just
exactly. So that's some of the epicness that I think like we miss that 70s and 80s rock and roll and hip hop had, which just these epic looking moments that have no bias of how was the room mixed, how did it get uploaded, and all that.
Right.
Yeah. So tell me what's going on with your current catalog. Like, you have how many songs on Spotify?
I want to say at least 13, 12,
Okay.
13, 12, around there.
When I hopped on there yesterday, I just went straight to that first one. What was the name of it again?
I think Oceania.
Bro, what a great fucking vibe. Again, like, it's just it's one of those songs that surround you entirely.
Yeah.
It's a great sonic blanket for that.
Yeah.
And then just like a vocal tone that I didn't expect from you. And I kind of went through the catalog a little bit. You do have that open-endedness I think everyone wants in their artists. I don't want to be able to predict what you're coming out with next. So as you're putting together whatever your next project is, how do you keep kind of that open bookend vibe?
I say just create whatever you're feeling. I know right now, just for warning, my next project is definitely going to be more rap. I haven't rapped in a long time, and that's where I started.
Cool.
So yeah, I try not to fight what I'm feeling and just create from that point of view. Like, hey, I'm feeling this. This is what I want to do. Let's just make it and put it out. Whatever it is, it turns out to be, it is what it is.
Man, I'm with that. People get too precious about things and their image and what people are meant to expect. And it's like, you're not really in control of that. You know, the only thing
Right.
you control is, are you still having fun with the project?
Exactly.
And if you ran the wheels off it and you're not having fun anymore, it's like you probably got past the magic point. You know, you
Yeah.
might have missed out on something cool.
For sure.
How long have you made your own demos and done that stuff?
Since I started, man. I started. I got a little story. So my first year, so I didn't go to like college and stuff. I skipped out on that. I actually did go for a semester, but actually 2 semesters, but I don't count that. You know?
Yeah, where at?
Community college back home, Valencia.
Nice.
So my parents had a college fund for us, my sister and I, and it came out with like $3,000 or something like that. And so I paid for my classes and I had a remainder. So I took that and went and bought music equipment. Had an interface, got a mic, bought a laptop, got Logic, and I was cooking, bro. Like I think it was within like a month or so, or maybe 2 months, I had my first little EP out.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's hard, dude.
Yeah.
So, man, what was the day that you knew you were leaving community college?
It was the last day when I didn't show up. It was it was a final and I didn't show up. I was like, I woke up. I was like, I don't want to go to this right now. I really don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, I'm not doing that again.
I think there's a lot of artistic types that the world kind of is projected on this generation that if you want to get to the next level in your career, you got to get a piece of paper for that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of folks that question, do I want to pivot or do I want to begrudgingly get through this thing? And
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for folks that pivot well,
Mm-hmm.
that, folks like, especially your parents who put money aside and said, like, we want you to do this thing. You said, well, I tried this thing, didn't
Yeah.
work out, and now I'm going to go so
left.
and I'm going to go at my own pace.
Yeah.
And then you have something to show for it. Like,
Right.
how good is it to hold that EP in your hand at some point and say, like, no, like this is what a semester now looks like. This is my output.
Right. That feels amazing. I think it was there was this one point last year where I forgot I had that EP on my hard drive. So I went back and listened to it. I was like, this isn't bad for it. Like, okay, like this isn't bad. This
Yeah.
isn't bad. Like, I know it wasn't mixed well at all. Nothing about it was mixed well. I kind of just rapped over it, did my thing, and just put it out. But people received it really well. They're like, dude, this is great. So from that point, to let's just take it to the show, my parents' responses to my music were vastly different. So they see what my vision is and like, okay, this could be a thing. They were having a great time at the show. They were smiling the whole time, and they saw like the reaction from everyone. They were like, okay, like this is something. I don't know what they were thinking, but it looked like, okay, this is something I can really get behind and support, which is amazing.
Yeah. What advice would you give to folks that are in that same position of just like, I feel called to do something else than I am doing,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't necessarily have the support in that direction, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Trust yourself. Definitely trust yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. So you just got to buckle down and show people.
That's bold, man.
Yeah.
So why Cincinnati?
Work, man. I got an opportunity to come up here, and I kind of wanted to get out of Florida.
Cool.
Just experience something different, and yeah, Cincinnati.
So how'd you find Rooted Creative? Like, is that the job that you moved here for?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So I played soccer with the owner in 2014 in the summer. So I was 17. I think he was like 24 at the time.
Cool.
And we played on the same team during the summer. Hadn't seen him after that for a minute. And I think like 2 years ago, we ended up following each other back on Instagram. And then he was singing. And I was like, and this was during my music. I was already making music. So I was like, yo, what the hell? You can sing? And he was like, haha, just a little bit. So we stayed in like a little bit of contact from then. And then I think 2021, November-ish, he opened up a position for what I do. So now I applied, and then, things worked out, and then I came up here.
That's rad, man. So what is your title actually there?
So I do social media management, and I do photo video as well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you really do watch the algorithm and those things and kind of keep.
It sucks, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you find the metrics side of that interesting, or is that a chore to you?
It's a little bit of both, because you can study your ass off on what the best practices are, and then the results don't come from it. So it's just like what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then the stuff you don't think about blows up, and you're just like, Why am I, stuff like that.
You commented on a video of mine that's clearly the most popular video on my reels. It got 15,000 views for no reason. It was garbage on my phone. It's like I spend so much time beating my head against a goddamn wall trying to make nice content.
Yeah.
And they want something that like someone just airdropped to me after a slut.
Right.
It's just like drinking on a Monday night in Nashville and it goes well. And it's so frustrating, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's, and as someone that's trying to do this for an agency where, everyone's boss is going to look at them and say, like, are you successful or not? Are you not successful? And how you quantify that is a very difficult thing.
Right.
And then you move that over to this game of just like digital ambiguity and what it means to have people's attention and what it means to get people engaged. Do you feel like the world of social media is at all predictable enough to really?
You can try your best to get as close to the target as possible. But there's no like, do this. Yeah. Yeah. There's no do this.
So as someone that's doing it yourself, and also suggesting to folks what they should do, if someone's going from no posts to getting their leg in the game, like what would you recommend?
So it shifted. Before I would say, like 3 posts a week, just 3 strong posts. But now, I would say just post as often as possible. That way, it shows the app that you're showing up and that you're a constant user. So they'll look at your stuff as like you're more of an active user. So they'll try to push your stuff out and let people see it.
That's an interesting point to make. I always have fear that like all these apps want consumers and creators to be on the platform as much as possible. Right. That's why they've built editing bays into these things, because they want you to be sitting on there, scrubbing back and forth, doing your captions on there.
Yeah.
And I would definitely assume that TikTok and Insta can tell, did you make this in our editing bay? Did you use our subtitle app? Things like that. And do you get algorithmic preference for that thing?
I'm actually not sure about that. That's a fantastic question.
Yeah, I always just wonder, do they make money off while you're just sitting in their editing bay working on that? Do they consider you a view that they sell to an advertiser? How do they profit off of that kind of time spent on the platform? Because you're not getting to their immediate monetized,
No, yeah, I think it's more just it just shows like just the more you're on the app, you know what I mean? They can monetize you as a person because they know what you're looking at. They can start serving you ads. Like it's a whole game. It's a whole game. So you just being on the app is very useful to them.
Yeah. Well, I think we talked about this briefly, but I went through the experience of getting kicked off of Insta.
Oh yeah, dude. Bro, I feel so bad for you, bro.
No, it was silly, man. Like once I got past like the dread of what was going on, it's just like that's the quirkiness of this, man. Like I can't control what people think of me. I can't control how people host my content. I can't control how people choose to distribute through their own means, you know? But I felt like Instagram was my number one platform where I put a decade worth of hard work into there. Yeah. I'm a 15-year-old kid making an account, just trying to always push for the music. That's always been the thing in my life. And one day it just came up that you're banned for 30 days. 30 days went up and said you're banned. And that said your account's been deleted.
Yeah.
And like we talked about, it was a very clear message to me. Like, you got to own your form of connection to your audience.
Fans,
Yeah, and your value proposition to your fans shouldn't just be posed through these content streams. But that's a really hard thing.
It is.
When we're all vying for attention in the most publicly viewed forums.
Right.
So what would you recommend to artists trying to own their own content stream?
That's something I started to like study myself last year. There's this thing which I knew about before called Superphone, which is by Ryan Leslie. Do you know him?
No.
Producer Ryan Leslie. It's basically a what's the term for it? It's a golly, what's the term for it? Forgot what the term is. Anyways, basically allows you to own your exactly what you can get all your fans' information and stuff like that. You can market it to them. So it'll be like you can give out your number, right, to your Superphone account. They can text you, and you'll know exactly who it is. You'll know their email, where they're from, like all their information. All they have to do is sign up, and then you have it, and it's like they're just texting you normally.
Fascinating. So it's like is this going to connect to your iMessage or your actual phone number via Verizon or Sprint or whatever?
Yeah, so I forgot exactly how it works, but you get your own number and you can choose whatever area code you want the number to be. So it's like a legit number. So and with that, you're able to you can do like messaging campaigns. You have all the information. You can do email campaigns. You can see who's your best, basically biggest fan, people who buy the most from you, what they bought, how much money they spent. You can set, bro. It's insane. I haven't even like gotten into all of it yet, but that's something I want to focus on this year.
Yeah, when it's impressive when a new competitor emerges in that world. Like I wonder, like, what's the future of monetized content across Twitter, Insta, YouTube, TikTok, Patreon, and maybe you can even consider. Tell me the name of it again.
Superphone.
Superphone. Maybe that's in that category as well, because these are all just like.
Just gave them a plug.
Dude, yeah, exactly. Well, you better get a fucking sponsorship.
Right.
There's only 10 people watching this show, but they care a lot. Sponsor the man, please. It's going to be more and more interesting as competitors enter that field. And the value proposition is, how do we keep you entertained while letting the entertainers reach back out to you more directly?
Right.
And like I have a personal conundrum with like, I don't want to stalk my listeners. Like I don't want to know. I don't want to collect too much data about these people. I want you to feel free to come to a show when you want to. Yeah. Don't worry about it when you don't. Buy a T-shirt when you want to. And sometimes when we get into huge mailing lists and finding out the geolocation of your listeners and all that, it really does feel like an invasion of their privacy.
Yeah, a little intrusive for sure.
Yeah, and we know that stuff's happening on our end. It's like. You know, gold is nothing compared to the value of data these days.
Oh, dude. Ridiculous.
But it doesn't make me feel more comfortable as...
an artist doing it?
Yeah. And or even as a business, it's like... I think loyal customers are loyal by their own choosing, not by my probing. You know, it's not by me sending you an email to remind you that this flash sale is going to happen on this particular piece of merch. But that does show results.
Yeah.
Like, do you ever run, like, the ethical question of those things? And
100%, dude. What I've came up with is it happens to you, right? You as a consumer, it happens to you. Things don't pop up on your page and stuff by accident. So I look at it as like, okay, I'm not looking at it as, oh, I'm being invaded. I just swipe past. It's not for me. So, like, you also have to take it from the perspective of that as well. Like, not everyone's going to be, like, always, oh, he's sending me so many things or stuff like that. You can't look at it as this big bad thing that's happening, because you kind of need to do it to be successful and to get results and stuff like that. So you just take away the negative connotation from it. And, yeah.
Use it for what it is.
Use it for what it is.
And you got a really good point of just like, if I don't like it, I just scroll past it. And I think we all have an aversion. Like when we see sponsored,
you scroll past it.
Yeah, exactly. We give things a little less merit. But that's why I also like, unfortunately, like I don't know why I get very pessimistic about these companies.
Yeah.
When I scroll past it, I'm like, did they still sell that advertising slot to somebody even though it didn't work?
Yeah.
And it's like, I guess it's still a view and it's still quantified and they're still making money off it. But you know, when we as artists say, like, I'm playing Lansdowne, Pennsylvania for the first time this year, please come to that show. And I don't know how to reach these people. These are strangers I've never met before.
Right.
So Facebook and Insta ads are one of the few avenues I have to get content in front of their face.
Right.
But when Facebook starts to quantify what their views are worth, I'm like, man, the only metric that I'm concerned about is butts and seats. You know, I don't need views. I need people there.
Yeah.
So it's a really hard question to say, like, what's it worth? You know?
Yeah. I'd say for that, it's all part of the game. It's part of the game. You gotta play the game. You definitely just gotta play the game. Facebook has the rules. Honestly, I think running Facebook ads is one of the most important things you have to do right now as an artist. Just running ads in general, because if you're not putting your content in front of people, people aren't going to know you. Yeah.
So walk me through, like, did you run ads for the Woodward show?
I did.
And tell me about, like, how you organized that ad campaign.
So I kind of ran it late just because there were so many other things to do. But what my strategy was, I don't know if you saw, I had a video on my page of me at an open mic. So I put that out there I ran three video ads. Well, 3 ads. Put that one out there as like a attention grabbing video ad. So people would go click on it. I ran that one as a profile visits. So people would see it like, okay, this is cool. Click on it. Kind of like the video of you, like the person airdropped you just. It's just like that. People look at it, it's like, oh, this looks natural. Let me check him out. So they go with the page, and that way they're gonna go and check out the rest of my stuff. The other thing I did was ran obviously an ad for the graphic for the show, and I had another one for I was running a promo on tickets, which was 10% off at my homie sneaker shop.
I saw that. It was so interesting to have a local sponsor like that.
Yeah.
In such a different context of the show.
Yeah, I had 3 of them. Shout out to the homies from the sidewalk, Pataroja, Taqueria. Let me say it better. And what's Jesus Christ, Jet Black Vintage.
Nice.
Yeah, he fitted me for the show. So
gang.
Yeah,
I saw you holding some just some fire shoes. I was like, what the fuck's he talking about? This? And it's the show promo. It's like, it's interesting when brand sponsorship is genuine, when it is your friends, and you do rep the shoes and you do wear the lines, versus like, on the highest level, people getting paid to put up a promoted post for shit that they would never use in a million years.
Yeah.
And like, that's an interesting avenue for all this, because if you're paying for eyeballs, you just want as many as possible.
Right.
But if the artist doesn't use that shit, like, what's it worth for folks?
Exactly.
So when you lay out these 3 ads, are you thinking about like general consumer experience? Like, you're trying to kind of bait them to get on the page, give me a follow, see the show, come to the show.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you do that with A/B testing at all, or what kind of stuff you like to run on there?
Yeah, I definitely just not necessarily A/B tests. I should A/B test, but I didn't.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting thing that Facebook has kind of evolved there, where you get certain constraints of how you can cross-post and whatnot.
Yeah.
But the fact that they'll actually do side-by-side testing with whatever populace you give them is a huge advantage to all of us.
Right.
That, I'm sure as the algorithm in general, AI gets better, your prediction of the way that headlines read and certain texts fit moods and whatnot, it's only going to get better.
Yeah.
But it's odd to have 2 at-bats with those things, and like the price that you pay for those is, I don't know if it's really going up. It seems like it's getting cheaper for the most part.
Yeah, honestly, I'd say like the last time I ran it looks about the same. Like nothing went upward.
Yeah.
Looks pretty standard.
Well, I always it's different when you have a show proposition like that, where again, like butts and seats is the best metric to measure on, because when it comes to the ground floor of what you and I do, it's like music is a communal space. It's a people's game. It's something that we share together, and it's best in person, in my opinion. But when you're just talking about trying to get people to your Spotify and things like that, playlist promotion is such a huge game. Have you ever dabbled in that?
That's one thing I don't want to get into, man.
Really?
Yeah, dude. I know it's important, but it's just like there's so many other things that are more important than just getting on a playlist just for your song to. Here's one thing. I don't believe in numbers so much, because numbers don't translate to people showing up. I'd rather focus on getting people to show up and people that do show up, I'd rather put on a kick-ass show for them, so where to the point where I have another show, they'll bring someone else or 2-3 more people next time, instead of me focusing on the online aspect of it. So that's I'm not big into pumping for numbers and stuff like that. Yeah,
it's interesting though. Like I used a platform called Submit Hub, just to say like, okay, I want certain songs to go onto funk playlists around the world.
Yeah,
and you find that even if the U.S. isn't as interested in what you're doing, maybe you're going to find some fans and whatnot in Germany. You're going to find some fans in Switzerland. And those people, like you said, their consumerism of what you do is less valuable, because they're not going to end up in a seat for a long time.
Right.
But if you start to kind of pump that up, one day you might be able to reap what you sow in that regard, to go play for those people.
Yeah.
But it is a weird question. It's like, how do you target just the playlist of Cincinnati?
Yeah.
Do you follow any of like the local playlist curators in town, or like any of the venues playlists or anything like that?
Not necessarily. I haven't really hunted for that. I don't like those tasks about music.
Yeah.
I really don't. But I know it's important, so I'll probably get around to it at some point.
Yeah, but some of it does feel like grunt work, especially when you spend so much time in front of the song, just sculpting, just trying to pick this word, not that word. to follow that up with what are the keywords that describe this song? What are the artists that's like, and how you pitch for that? It is just kind of like a can of worms.
Yeah, dude. You're just like, I don't know. Just listen to it.
Yeah, but it is. When we start to compare Cincinnati to major entertainment metropolis like Nashville or L.A., there's a market to be served here. There's tons of artists in that category, like you and myself, who great at making music, not good at listing music, not good at spreading it like that. It's general just word of mouth. So finding folks that see that as their way of being involved in the music, say they aren't the lyricist or the musician that they want to be, but they can say like, okay, I'm great at getting music in the feed of randoms, whether it's your daily mix on Spotify or whatever that is. That's what's going to allow us to compete at that big level, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
What kind of a role do you think Rooted's going to play in this scene's culture with providing the kind of content that they do?
They're incredible. You were on our second sessions. So that was incredible, bro. So we're just gonna evolve and just get better and play hopefully step into a bigger role where we're able to do maybe live stuff like for concerts and stuff like that. That's honest. When I get to where I want to be, they're gonna help me out for sure because I trust them. They have a vision and they're great. We're a great team.
Yeah. Well, it's great to be around a firm of folks, like you said, that have tons of talents. They can pick up a camera and they can take that shot. They can be on the video side, or they can hold a boom, or they can do whatever needs to happen. But everyone's committed to the quality of the content. And when you see that pop up in your feed, where the last video I saw of Allan, he's at an open mic, then I saw him at the Woodward, and I see him with this gorgeous backdrop. And it's like, no, that's a fucking vibe. That really fits, man.
Yeah.
And when you have firms in town that are willing to, not in the best way possible, to give creative handouts like that, to give opportunities that people can't afford or rationalize or organize themselves, for them to step in and say, all you got to do is show up, and we're going to make this tasty, is an incredible opportunity.
And
man.
insane. It's almost invaluable as an artist.
Yeah.
Like, you have to say yes at that point.
Yeah.
No matter what you're doing. Yeah, I'm calling off tomorrow. I'm doing this.
And also as a scene, when you have like NPR Tiny Desk concerts is like the ultimate in my mind of you took something that was just like an informal bit of fun for the office, and it's turned into a major breaking point for artists. Like, that's where I saw Anderson .Paak for the first time.
No way.
Yeah, man. And like you watch him, like I didn't know someone could play drums and sing like that. Like watch him do Come Down for the first time, or like Heart Don't Stand a Chance. It's just everything on that Tiny Desk just blew my mind. And they're just
that was my favorite Tiny Desk.
Really?
Yeah.
It's between that and Mac for me.
Oh, you said it. That
exactly.
was it. Yeah.
It's so weird to think that someone like Mac is coming in there, and it's because he loves the people, man. He gave so much for all of us. We can always appreciate our heroes that have gone to the next side, and they've left more than enough for all of us for a lifetime.
For sure.
But
you sound like a Mac Miller fan.
I love Mac. Dude, the first, I wasn't very into him until after he passed.
Yeah.
And Circles became one of my favorite albums for a long time.
It's a masterpiece, man.
Yeah, it's one of those comfort albums for me that I just listen to a lot. And most people said, like, this feels very morbid to think about a hero that's gone. It's like, I didn't know him till I couldn't have him in that regard. And this work of art is magnificent, like you said.
It's almost like, damn, like, why? Yeah, you just want to, like, why?
Yeah.
Because it was that, is a Swimming, Circles, the trilogy. It was supposed to be a trilogy.
Really?
Yes.
That makes me upset.
Exactly.
Right,
now thinking about it, you're just like, Mac Miller's my favorite artist of all time. So
really?
Yes. That's why I'm like, I just want to hear you speak about him, see what you thought.
Yeah, man. I definitely am not someone that got in early. I'm not someone that's even gotten in the whole catalog. Like my primary musical obsession is Prince. And I'm still diving into that catalog because there's so much to be had. But just finding folks that are huge fans that can say, none of this album, none of this album. It's like finding people who are enthusiastic and moved by the music is everything for it.
Yeah.
Is there any particular Mac album that really did it for you? Like, what was your first?
Man, my first Mac Miller album was Kids. That's that.
Kids,
some motherfucking Kids, dog. That one and my favorite. It's not really an album; it's a mixtape. Faces. That's my favorite project of all time. You can't replicate something like that. No one else would do something like that. It was the production on that was insane, jazzy, obscure, and he was just dropping bars left and right, and it was just a vibe. Like you just can't, you're not gonna get something like that ever again.
Yeah.
And then I say my favorite album, like studio record album, is Good AM. Definitely Good AM. And then obviously I put Swimming in Circles in their own category.
Yeah. What just knowing more about it to feel the lack in that trilogy, not get a third is gritty to say the least.
Yeah.
But what I really love about Mac and Anderson, as someone that's not very hip to the world of hip hop and rap, I love when they have organic sounds. I love when they have musicians that sound so free behind them and they're willing to go where they want, because the world of jazz is slowly bleeding into that world in a really cool way.
Yeah.
But those guys were just fearless band leaders who will let it go on. Like Anderson's keyboard player T Nava's from in town, and you watch this guy like the Blue Note, just playing like some real fucking jazz. And then step up there and he's playing a talk box. And you ever heard of the Free Nationals album? Does that have Girlfriend on there, or is that T Nava's single?
I'm not familiar with that one.
Okay, it's gnarly.
Yeah.
I love when guys can't. I don't know they can't sing, but I love when guys don't sing. They just use a talk box.
Yeah,
because it's so trippy when people do it well.
Yeah, and he kills, bro. He's insane at that.
Yeah. Now, you ever messed with like a lot of effects pedals? As someone that like plays guitar kind of as a secondary as a vocalist?
Not necessarily. I'm kind of getting into more effects and stuff with my music. One thing about me is I want to be as like stripped down and raw as possible. That's why my name is Allan Kyle. It's actually like my name. That's my first name and middle name.
Nice.
So I'm just giving you, that's me.
Yeah.
So like I'm developing, using auto-tune and like more effects and stuff like that, just exploring. So yeah. Well,
especially for like guitar players, like the world of pedals. Like, you big U2 fan at all?
Not necessarily.
You're taking a lot of shade for that Super Bowl commercial. That shit sucked.
Oh yeah.
But like the Edge is like one of those crazy guitar players where you watch his hand and what he actually does versus the sonic scape you get out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And like that kind of blew my mind as a young guitar player.
Yeah.
And I love seeing guys that the guitar is not their thing, but they found bits that worked for them, and especially via pedals where you can get all this sonic either saturation or ambiguity and just the looseness that comes with like, here's the strings, but what you get is a total mess different,
Yeah.
Did you used to go by Allan for President?
No.
Okay.
That was different guy.
Okay,
different guy.
Because when we first met, I was like, is that the guy that went by Allan for President? Because I've never met that cat.
No.
Cool.
So he I think he spells his name the same way as me. I've never met him. I just know him through Daniel.
Wait, and Daniel mentioned that on the podcast.
Yeah,
and I was like, we talking about the same dude? And you mentioned that you knew him, so I just made assumptions there. But
yeah, so I haven't met him. I just know him because he's an artist in the city.
Yeah.
I think he spells his name the same way I do, which is rare. So I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, shout out for Allan for President.
Yeah.
Come on the show and explain yourself. Show your face. Don't. So have you always gone by Allan Kyle, or is that a new evolvement in your artistry?
Yeah, no, from the beginning.
Cool.
I didn't want to make up some weird obscure name when I first started and then have to change it. So I was just like, this is me. I'm making music. You guys could like it or not. Now I did develop like people started calling me AK for short, so that's why it's like on the chains.
The chain's hard.
Thank you,
The chain
bro.
is hard.
Thank you.
Also, you got a nice logo for the AK as well. It's just
yeah.
like, I saw one of the videos of you working in your home studio where it's like the graphic came up. It's like, that's slick, man.
Appreciate it. That's my coworker Sheridan. She made that.
Fuck
so
yeah.
Shout out to her.
That's got to be the nicest thing in working with an office of people like that, where
Man.
it's like, I'm just going to pretend like I'm working on this till one of y'all walks up and tells me how to fix it. You know what I mean? It's just like.
Literally. It's cool. It's cool. It's fun.
What would you say is like the biggest challenge of working in a firm like that?
Having to be creative all the time. Like, it's fun. It's a blessing. But sometimes, you just want to take a break.
Yeah.
And get away from having to be creative. And, so I would say that. It's a blessing. It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Definitely double-edged sword.
So what are like your happy, like, mindless hobbies?
Sleep and Netflix. And skateboarding and snowboarding.
I was watching a video of you skating today where it was just you like doing this rugged ollie over a traffic cone.
Yeah.
I was like, this looks dumb and dangerous in an awesome way. I'm
Yep,
like,
yep. Whenever I go out there, I'm just like, if I get hurt today, I get hurt, but I'm just clearing my mind. I'm just out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever gotten hurt skating?
Not too bad. I got like scrapes, pretty bad, but
Never
luckily
broken a wrist or nothing like that?
Actually, hold up.
How'd you forget
Hold
about
up.
that shit?
I think I had broke like something in here in early November,
Yeah.
but I just never went to the doctor, and it feels better, so I think
Yeah.
I'm good.
That's one of those weird things, man, where like, you know, my hands hurt from a lot of playing.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of fears about, like, you know, what happens when you're 65 and you can't play the way you want to play because of arthritis or carpal tunnel, whatever people get. And like my main hobby outside of music is yoga.
Oh,
and you
okay,
spend a
that's
lot
fun.
of time on the wrists, but that concern kind of pairs with, you know, your ability to move, your ability to have freedom in your own body is everything as you get older.
Yeah.
You know, like, especially when it comes to injuries, like, to lose range of motion is the saddest thing to lose in life.
Right.
Because this is vehicle number one. Like,
Yeah.
you can have a Beamer in the garage, but like,
Yeah.
that's not going to get you where you want to go the same way that a healthy, happy body would.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you much into, like, do you have like a physical routine? You lift weights, you run it all?
Yeah, so I wasn't a pretty high level athlete growing up.
Nice.
Yeah, I stopped playing right around the time I started making music.
At soccer?
Yeah.
Cool.
So I was always active and stuff like that. But I got into weightlifting, I'd say like 2 years ago. And yeah, so that's kind of been in my regiment. I kind of stopped last year because last year was so hectic. But I'm getting back into it now. I'm in the gym like at least 3 times a week, 4 times.
Any particular goal with that? Are you trying to put on weight? Or are you just trying to get healthier? Or?
Yeah, I'm just trying to, be solid, man. I don't want to be out one day and someone tries me. I'm just like defenseless. Like I want to, but at least I just want to, I'm big in being able to protect yourself.
Yeah.
So that's baseline for me.
You ever
working
done any
out.
like boxing or any training like that? Or
No, but I was gonna get into MMA training
Nice.
before I moved. I was signed up for classes and stuff, and I ended up moving. But yeah, definitely got into MMA a little bit.
we all have a false idea of how much we can take care of ourselves until like something actually happens. And
Right.
It's a weird proposition to say, like, okay, I'm gonna start being a beginner in something, and beginning in anything sucks because you make stupid mistakes, and like
I love it though. I love starting from zero, bro.
it's different though when like beginners get choked out here.
That's
you
true.
know?
That's true. Now you're sleeping.
Exactly. I'm a little bit nervous about like getting ringworm while a dude chokes me out on my first.
Golly, the sweat on the mat was ridiculous, bro.
Bro, it's scary.
It is.
But you know, like, I think living in Brooklyn or living in Orlando too, it's like you just have so many people around at all points in time. You need to have a little bit more of your head on a swivel and have a good sense of protecting yourself.
For sure.
I always get worried about someone ganking a guitar and what I would do in that situation. I'm like, kind of depends on the guitar, you know?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like, I'm kind of scared of getting my ass kicked.
Yeah.
Or someone taking my other guitars while I'm going after that guy.
Right,
you know?
right.
I'm always loading shit in at the end of the night. I'm like, I'm a sitting duck right now.
Literally, your back's turned. Somewhere you just, it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's why I got to get, like, pepper spray or something like that. Or, like, the bear spray that shoots 30 yards.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
That's some Jedi shit.
That
like,
sounds crazy.
Yeah,
Just
exactly. Like, 30 yards. Well, that's probably an exaggeration. I don't know if you can hit that kind of distance. I'll just get a BB gun. I'll just be rocking hard. Where do you go for skating in town?
I bounce all over, man. So there's Florence Skate Park, which is my favorite.
Nice.
There's Under the Bridge in Newport, next to the school.
I've seen that space. That shit's fly.
It's dope. The only thing about it is like slanted, so it's not like an even skate. There is Delhi. Delhi's cool.
You really travel for these spots, man. Like,
Oh yeah, for
what
sure.
part of town you stay in?
I'm right downtown.
Okay, cool.
Like right downtown Cincy. Where else? I've been another place.
When you say it's not flat, I would never imagine that a skateboard would want a flat surface because it means you need to output more just to get going.
No, like it's just slanted.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's smooth. It's smooth and everything. It's just slanted.
Yeah.
I don't
And
like
do you
that.
like doing like the Like the bowls or things like that? Or are you more of a street skate?
I love flow.
Dude,
bowls and stuff.
I can't imagine how you don't get fucking hurt doing that. Like, that's what blows my mind. You're about to go on a full 45-degree angle, you know?
I have no clue. I just haven't gotten hurt. I'm just gonna keep it that way.
Dude, knock on wood.
Knock on wood,
that's
dude.
for sure.
Yeah.
I love watching a good wipeout on YouTube. I don't want it to be my buddy Allan.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that, man. Yeah. That's it. Oh, that story. So I used to skate in like 6th grade, and I stopped. I was getting decent. I was hitting like 3 stairs and stuff, just ollieing, pop shove-its and stuff. You know, simple stuff. Just building a solid base.
Yeah.
I credit card myself. This is when the board pops up and just gets you in the ass. I just landed on it, and then I just went inside and said, I'm never skating again. And that's how I stopped.
and why was that? Just like, it was an embarrassing way to do it, or just like incredibly painful?
It was that painful. I'm not doing that. I don't want to feel that shit again.
Dude, tailbone's a sensitive place to get hit.
Like, it was like right, bro. It couldn't have been any more perfect. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Dude, I have such a fear of falling on concrete, but like the most similar thing I got to that is like skimboarding. I love
skimboarding is lit.
Dude, at some point you need to meet up with me in Hilton Head, because that's like my favorite shit. I'm not very good, but just like the freedom of just zooming down the beach.
Yeah, and slinging the...
Yeah, and being patient for waves, and just like to have an activity that feels like I'm putting myself in a place to participate in the world around me. I can't sit on the beach and watch the waves roll up and pretend like that's tranquil. That shit will get to me, you know. I'm either hammered just digging in the sand, or I'm out there skimming. Like, I gotta do something, bro.
I feel that. I feel that for sure.
Where you like to vacation at?
Vacation. I haven't thought about vacation in a long time.
Bro, you're working too hard. Come on.
No, for sure. I mean, I grew up vacationing a lot, so I feel like this is the time I need to just buckle down. So like, I haven't thought about vacation in a long time. But I mean, I would say whenever I go to the islands, man, it's just relaxed. It's so relaxed.
Do you travel much with your job? Are you doing any touring or anything like that right now?
Yeah, we have travel opportunities and stuff. So one of my coworkers, he's actually in Florida right now. He left today.
Nice.
And so there's opportunity to travel. Half the team was in, I want to say, Dallas in December, like after Christmas. So there's definitely opportunity to travel.
Yeah, but what about gigging outside of town? Is that something you foresee yourself doing in the Midwest, or do you kind of have spots in mind for that?
I definitely want to hit the Midwest. I want to hit 3 spots outside the city, not even the city, the state.
Nice.
This year, that's my goal.
And do you know where yet?
It could be freaking, I don't know, Tennessee, Kentucky, Chicago, maybe. I just want to get outside. I need to.
Yeah, I've wanted to play in Chicago. I used to play in Wrigleyville every once in a while.
Oh, that's cool.
It was a nice club, but like Chicago's another one of those places where you get very cultural hubs in different parts of the city.
For sure.
And, you know, like the pursuit of finding listeners in your hometown's hard, let alone when you go out of town. You're just looking for one person to feel so moved by it that they can't help but bring 5 people back next time.
Right.
So I'm still looking for that spot in that part of the world, man. Like, you know, I've been touring hard since I was probably like 22, and I've only found like 2 or 3 spots where it's like, we will be here for you every time you come back.
Yeah.
That's special.
Yeah, it is.
Man, it's a weird grind to get in there.
Yeah. Honestly, I want to hear more about that on your side, because since you're there already, like what back end wise, like what is the most challenging thing? Like, would you say getting the band together, having to basically list out expenses? Like what is the most challenging part about that? Doing it on your own.
Well, the nice thing for me has always been like, because it's my band and the guys in the band are paid to be there when they are, and you know, I have other guys when they aren't available. The staffing of it hasn't been too hard, but the expenses is always a very odd proposition. It's like, when I go out of town, I'm not going to make money. I'm going to make fans.
Fans, right.
So I have to be very considerate of when I make that expense, you know, and what I want from that. And like, I've learned over a couple of years, like if I don't take a videographer out there with me, then I missed half of the value proposition.
Right, it's almost pointless.
Yeah, exactly. Almost. And like, you know, just not feeling defeated when you send out those emails and hear nothing back. One thing that really helped me out was finding like chains of venues, like you know, the Tin Roof downtown.
Yeah.
The Tin Roof is a chain that I've played pretty much every location they got. They have Cincinnati, Detroit, Charlotte. I think Charlotte's closed. Columbia, Orlando. They have San Diego, Kansas City,
There is a
St.
Tin
Louis.
Roof in Orlando. Yeah.
Dude, I love playing that Tin Roof. Actually, that's one of my preferred. That and Indianapolis are always a lot of fun.
Okay.
But that kind of thing where like a good show and a little bit of conversation can lead to you being in another city,
Mm-hmm.
and those rooms are always packed, but they aren't packed for you. You know, you're kind of
Yeah.
background music, and it works for you for a while. Like if you just want the image of I'm playing to a packed room out of town,
Yeah.
you know, that circuit's been phenomenal for me for doing that.
Yeah.
But then like finding fans that really give a shit, you know,
Yeah.
it's such a different thing. So
Difficult.
I'm back to playing a lot of empty rooms, a lot of full rooms, and the variety is just like, it's people, man.
Yeah.
How much time are you going to put into that one connection? Like,
Yeah.
I was playing in Northern Ohio maybe about 3 or 4 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
This guy came up. He said, "Matt Waters." I'm Matt Waters. And
No
I was like,
way.
"Oh shit!" Like,
Stop it.
and I was like, "Brother, give me a hug." He goes, "It's my birthday." I was like, "Oh shit!" And we're friends for life now. Like,
Oh
that
yeah,
guy
you
comes-
locked in.
Exactly. But just the oddity of being there in person, someone
Yeah.
being like, "Oh, I have something that's gonna bring us together forever."
Yeah.
You know, or someone just giving enough of a shit about one of your songs
Mhm.
to make a mental note that they'll be back for you. Like,
Yeah.
it's a miracle every single time it happens.
Yeah.
So, still very early in that process, but same as you, it's like I look around, I set my goals up, and I do them for me.
Mm-hmm.
And when other people see that I'm entertaining myself, I'm having fun myself,
Yeah.
they start to have fun with me.
Right.
You know?
Right. You never want to make it seem like it's this like freaking huge task to be. You know, people want to see you're an entertainer at the end of the day, so they want to see you having fun, and then they can buy into you having fun and buy into you as a place to go to you for entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that really brings up something where, like, you know, we all have a capacity of what we can do in our day. You know,
Mhm.
a certain amount of hours and a certain amount of energy. And, like, if you don't take care of yourself to be at your best,
Yeah.
then what do you have to offer those people?
That's true.
You know,
That's
so
true.
like, you got to be rested.
Yeah.
I tried to do, like, a 3-week tour back in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And 3 weeks was just way too much for me at that point in time. And
Yeah.
it was, like, it was the best and worst experience of my life up to that point.
Right.
Like, I had a backpack full of all my equipment stolen in NYC on the subway.
No way.
Yeah, right before a show, like it had my my emergency cash. It had thank God it didn't have my keys, but it had my stabilizer.
No
Yeah,
way.
it had my hard drives. It had fucking everything.
How'd it get stolen? They just
Just someone ganked it and walked off. You know, like it was crazy. We were shooting a music video,
Mhm.
so we all got on the subway and we're filming this scene where I'm jumping between two cars,
Cool, yeah.
like just opening and going.
Yeah.
And we had to get off right at that next stop. So we're getting off, and someone just swiped it at that point in time.
Was it on you?
No, it wasn't on me. It was on the ground at that point because someone else was supposed to watch it. Someone
Yeah.
that's no longer with my project for a variety of reasons. But
Yeah.
like that was a big
Yeah,
one.
he dropped the ball.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, during that experience, like I made friends and fans that are still some of the most meaningful listeners in my life.
Mhm.
I got to see like Vermont for the first time. I ate an apple off a tree with no hands. That shit was
That's
tight.
fun.
Yeah, man. So like again, like one of the best and worst experiences in my life. But I learned out of 3 weeks of touring, by the end, I had nothing to offer these people. I was just a shell. I was
Yeah.
tired. I was broke. You
Yeah.
know, the situation was not great.
Yeah.
So now I'm just trying to evaluate what am I out there for? What's a meaningful amount of time to be out there?
Mhm.
And what am I trying to deliver to people?
Right.
So I have expectations of my own performance. It's more based on like, what do they have to buy in on? Did
Yeah.
your voice sound shitty tonight? Did you
Yeah.
practice? You warm up and all that?
Yeah.
Do you got any kind of warm up routine for your shows?
Not necessarily. I definitely say a prayer like 10 minutes before every single time. Doesn't
Mhm.
matter when I perform, every single time.
And do you have like do you have a prayer that you say, or is it more of just like an open conversation?
Yeah, more of an open conversation. Just more saying like speaking into like what I want the show to be, and just saying thanks for the opportunity, and then whatever it is, just let me go out there and perform for these people that that let me give them something, so they can leave and say, hey, I like that.
Yeah. How much is your spiritual life still, in your day to day? Is that like a major for you?
Yeah, I was kind of ingrained in me. I stepped away from it for a little bit, but it's definitely, there's always situations that reminds me of like, hey, you need to be more, in tune spiritually and stuff like that. So I definitely try to incorporate that every day, pray every morning as much as I can.
Yeah.
You miss a few days, you wake up tired or just late.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely mindful of praying and stuff like that, keeping God in my life.
Yeah, and I think whatever way people choose to practice their faith, something like that, like a routine. If I wake up and I say why I'm grateful and I ask for what I want in the world, that kind of alignment, and also the accountability of God or whatever you consider that force to be. It's like that's the ultimate accountability, man.
Yeah.
That's where the opportunity stems from.
For sure.
So appreciate what you got and move onward and upward every time, man.
Yeah. Hell yeah, every time, man. I'm most of my prayers are really just saying thanks.
Yeah.
Because I realistically have more than I need. I feel like a lot of people have more than what they need. It's just they have a goal and they need the excess to get to what they need. But at the baseline, you have more than what you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think your aura is very much that of a person that is satisfied to be where they are. You have a very clear presence and a positivity about you.
Thank you.
And those kind of practices what allows someone to be that, on good and bad days. If you haven't promised yourself that you're going to hold those blessings at the forefront, then they rarely do slip through the cracks on bad days. It gets pretty dismal for people.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, before we wrap this up, is there anything that you want to plug going forward? Anything that's on the horizon?
Man, just look out for Allan Kyle this year, man. I'm making a push for this year, so I definitely just look out, just tune in, and just grow with me, man.
Absolutely, dude. Well, thanks for sharing the time with us, Allan Kyle. Everybody, make sure you follow him. Links will be in the description. Text me everything that you want me to list below that.
Yeah.
Cool. Peace, players. The Weekly Wave. That is Allan Kyle. Everybody, make sure you check his links out below. Give him a follow. Check out new music that might be coming down, and a lot more to come, my friends. Hit the subscribe button if you dig. Talk your shit in the comments. Show some love. Squeeze somebody that needs it. Peace.